I served, 26 years I was in, and so I kind of served all over the place. During that time frame, I had a number of assignments I had 13 different assignments, so about half of those were in the U.S. and then half were overseas. So I served in Germany, I served in Korea, I served in Japan, and then I had 4 different deployments that were probably more towards the wartime environment. And so we were there to support Operation Enduring Freedom, which was the operation for the global war on terrorism. We were supporting Operation Iraqi Freedom because we had gone into Iraq in 2003-2004 timeframe, and so that was going on. So those are kind of my wartime experiences. My time frame in Iraq I thought was very interesting. It was very rewarding to be a squadron commander there. Like I said, we worked with the Army, did a lot of construction projects. So I was leading a pretty diverse group of people that would go out. They were working what we call outside the wire. So they would have to travel via the MRAPs or Black Hawk helicopters to forward operating bases, which were pretty small and austere and downsized, but make sure that they have all of their infrastructure in place so that once all the U.S. forces left, the military forces left, the State Department could continue with their operations. So we went through a bunch of training. We did MRAP rollover training, so in case if you're out in an MRAP and there's an IED that explodes and the MRAP turns over, you know how to get out of it. We traveled a lot via the Black Hawk helicopters, Chinooks, MRAPs, C-130s, so lots of different modes of transportation. So day to day I would work with some of the Army personnel. So there was a large Army engineering brigade, and so as Air Force engineers helping out, we had a lot of expertise that the Army didn't have. I had carpenters and plumbers and electricians that the Army didn't necessarily have. Well, I think just being the travel piece of it and the leadership piece of it, making sure working with others, working with the Army and the State Department personnel on what they needed. We were working very high-level projects for the State Department, so that was pretty memorable and a pretty great opportunity that we had. I think I am very lucky in that I have not been in the direct line of fire, and obviously my time in Iraq was still a dangerous time frame. It was not early on in the war, not nearly as dangerous, but we would have mortars that would come over the walls, and we'd have to run to the bunkers and all of that, although many of my airmen were, and I've known people that have died in action. So I think that experience has really given me a good appreciation for what a lot of these men and women do on a day-to-day basis, especially our elected leaders. They need to understand really what they go through, because so many of our elected leaders nowadays have not served in the military at all, and they don't fully understand what these men and women do. I think my experiences over there have really taught me to appreciate what goes on and what a lot of these people go through. There's really kind of 3 things that I really enjoyed about my experience. First is just being part of something that's bigger than you. No matter which branch of the military you're in or what career field you're in, you're working towards a higher goal. And a lot of these missions are at the national or even international level. And many times you're working with people from other countries and building those relationships. And so you're really part of something that is much bigger than you. And I always found that very gratifying. Being deployed for me was a great experience. Every time I went, tensions were pretty high back then, but everybody was feeling very, patriotic because of the events of 9/11. And so being there and being able to help build an air base was just very gratifying. There had been a long-term plan to build up Al Udeid Air Base as a permanent base, so I was working with the Qatari engineers on long-term plans of what the base would look like and how we would construct things. So that was being the squadron commander in Iraq, just from a leadership standpoint, that was super gratifying as well, being able to lead a very diverse group of people. I was a squadron commander twice and a group commander once. So being able to lead a very diverse group of people. The military is a cross-section of America. So you have every religion, you've got every race, you've got every socioeconomic background, you've got people that have come from, pretty poor and abusive backgrounds that come into the military, and being able to lead them and mentor them. It's very exciting to be able to see people reach their goals, whether it's, getting their education or getting promoted, an enlisted person becoming an officer, or moving to a different career field that, following their dreams. So that leadership aspect I really enjoyed that throughout the military. But I think overall, my military experience was very positive. I learned a lot, and it has broadened my thinking quite a bit.